The audio is off.
What is it? Yes, we are kind of like hiding from you. And I brought my almost enough about you. Really? Good one about very good ones.
If you are able, if you would take a cushion, because inevitably there will be 2 to 6 people that come in late and they need a chair. So if you're able to sit on the floor, we have cushions available. If you're not, but don't feel pressure. If you can't, then don't, but
Got good knees.
yeah, if you got the knees for it, do it. We've got some cushions back here. We've got cushions up here. There's a chair here.
There's 2 here, we said chair here.
Over here? Where's Steve? Right there. Oh, that's from Venerable Kalden.
We're good.
So,
I've been waiting for weeks
okay.
to talk to you about this.
Not right now, please,
I know.
please start it.
We're gonna talk it later. We do. We will have time.
So,
Always. Yeah, I think so.
just before we get started, just gonna kind of give a brief rundown of the itinerary today.
We are all going to enlightenment. That's where we are going.
Hop on the enlightenment train. Yeah, let's do it.
That is the itinerary for today. That's where we're going.
Yeah, all right, well, Venerable Kalden, remember not overpromise.
Well, I can say whatever. It depends on you guys, so it's up to you.
So, I think most people that are here today know this is Venerable Kalden's last teaching in person for this month.
For this month, exactly.
So
They are trying to trap me, more and more. Like, they are. We are working on that. We're working on that.
Yeah,
It's working.
there's chairs over here. We got one over here. We got cushions.
And we have one here.
We got one here. We're good.
And one here.
Hello.
So we are so thrilled to have this situation where we're looking for chairs. It's so great. Everyone's here. But Venerable Kalden is going to continue online. You're fine. Everything's going to be on the website. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, sign up.
Yes.
He's coming back today. We're not saying goodbye to Venerable Kalden. We're saying see you soon.
I'll say logo. As I like to say, it's just like, you guys need a break from me. Like Rebecca is almost like dying. Yes, yesterday we went all the way to the Everglades, so it's like otherwise we were almost arrested, but everything went fine. So, we were just many things. So, in the end, I for the benefit of all, you guys need a break from me. So that's why, so it's a short break.
If you're not on our Facebook or Instagram, if you want to, because there's going to be some hilarious photos and videos from yesterday. And so we're getting things very festive and fun. And so we're going to have the teachings, and then we'll just take a few minutes to get set up. We're going to have a potluck. Venerable Kalden's leaving this evening at 6 p.m. So he'll probably leave here at about 5, knowing him. His flight's at 6.
Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry.
So welcome. Our AC does not do great with a ton of people. We're gonna get through it. So thank you everyone for being here today and for your patience with
us, with me,
not with him, with
me,
with our AC and
yes,
and our seating arrangement.
Yes. We need a little thing. Okay, so let's do this. It's very nice. Very, very good. So as we have a lot of space. So today we're going to do full body prostrations for those that know. Okay? It's good. It's exercise, People say monks are lazy, like many monks are not. I am, very lazy. So we need to do full body prostrations. Okay. So we go all the way. It's like, what is the exercise that it reminds burpees? So it's like this, okay? Full body prostration. So we can do it here. We have lots of space today to do it. No way. No. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna just start, with a good motivation. That's the most important. Intention, because you all came here, I hope that not to listen to my melodious voice. So at least we can make this time together useful, you know, and beneficial. So for that, we're going to start with our prostrations as a way to make sure we prepare the body and the mind. Okay? So for those that are new, for those that don't know, prostrations means that we are uniting, unifying. Oh, you guys gonna also, who is new here, they're gonna start learning Kalden language. Okay, so you're gonna also do that. So we are uniting together our compassion and our wisdom and really transforming this as the method and the wisdom that we need in order to purify our mind, our speech, our body, and that we can manifest this pure body, speech, and mind to the world. Okay? Very important. That's what we can do. We can use our body, speech, and mind to benefit others all the time. Yeah? So that's why we are here in a way. Because all of you, each of you came here. It might look like for very different reasons because of that, but in the end, that's what we all want, happiness and not suffering. Yeah? So in Buddhism, we say that that is an inner path. Therefore, we put our thumbs inside like this to say it's an inner path. We're not going to find it in Amazon. We're not going to find it in Netflix, Instagram, not there. Okay? But and not only not even just coming to the center you will find it, right? You need to take it home and apply to your mind. Yes, very important that. Okay, don't forget, because otherwise he comes here, listen to this blah blah blah, this monk like parrot, blah, 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 like that, and then things don't change because we need to apply to our mind. Okay, so don't forget that. So the prostrations, they are for ourselves, for us to develop a body and a mind and a speech that wants to do that. Okay, to want to benefit others. Yeah, don't close the door, no, otherwise we die here. Okay, so we can for those that knows how to chant the mantra, they can chant the mantra. Otherwise, you just stay like this, and you can just do it like that. Please don't go down, there's no space. So we just do it with our minds. That's the most important. Om Namo Manjushriye, Namo Sushriye, Namo Tamashriye Suha. Om Namo Manjushriye, Namo Sushriye, Namo Tamashriye Suha. Om Namo Manjushriye, Namo Sushriye, Namo Tamashriye Suha. Yeah. Please have a seat. Is it being recorded already? Yes. Yeah. Okay, good. Wow. So many people. So nice, isn't it? It's nice to be here together. On a Sunday, we could be at the beach, We could be doing massage, but we decided to come here. That is already very special. That already creates, in some ways, the intention for us to really work with our minds, to work with our emotions. That is something that is important. We talk a lot about the mind in Buddhism. Then the mind sometimes looks like something rational, only the rational like part, Not like that. Actually, the mind is everything. Our emotions, our feelings, our sensations, all of the experiences that we have. And we have been talking about in these Sundays about very different types of mental states. especially those that we, as I like to say, we are very familiarized with, right? And if we actually look into those mental states that we are very familiarized with, we can see that they are normally not the most beneficial for ourselves, not the most beneficial in relation to achieving what? Happiness and the absence of suffering. Because each of us here, no idea how many people, maybe 40, 50 here, all of us here, we woke up and we didn't say, I hope I can suffer, right? Nobody did that. Even if you are the most depressed person, you know, and you might say, no, 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 I woke up like this, Kade. I said, I really want to suffer. Maybe not. Or maybe you thought that suffering will bring you happiness. That happens sometimes, isn't it? We think that some things that we really want, it will bring us this happiness. However, Buddhism is going to say a different way. Buddhism is going to say that it's an inner path, that the only way to achieve that happiness and that absence of suffering is if we work with our mind, if we understand the way the mind works. And that's why I like to say that Buddhism is the science of mind. We understand how it works. As I like to put it, the mechanics of the mind. But what is the goal? The goal is to be happy and to not suffer, right? That is the goal. So we need to really get that straight. So for that, we need to discover what is happiness. Because we talk a lot about happiness. I think America is a very good place to talk about happiness. No? We are really good in finding happiness. But then I would ask, is it really happiness? What we are finding in the Publix or, you know, in Netflix or Amazon Prime? Or is that just temporary pleasures? I'm not saying, I'm just asking. And I think all of us can agree that because we are here, we know that those experiences, they are not happiness. Because the type of happiness that we are talking in Buddhism is a happiness that never goes away. It's a happiness that there is no need for something else to happen in order for us to feel fulfilled. It's a complete fulfillment. You understand that? Can you try to grasp that idea? Because normally we don't work like that. We are changing or chasing the next moment again and again and again. And then we need to invent something new because the thing that we had yesterday is not enough. So that's why we need to bigger size me, you know, like how they say, super size me, you know, you make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and new and flashier and whatever it is that we do in order to try to really convince ourselves that when I get that, then I'm going to find it, isn't it? And it doesn't need to be because some people might say, but I'm a very kind of like simple minded. I have a simple life and all of that. Okay, so then if we start taking out your favorite coffee, your favorite, where's Jack? Jack is online. If we take out the raisins from, you know, our porridge, because we had a very good conversation one day, because Jack became very angry because he didn't have raisins, right? That is exactly the type of suffering that the Buddha was trying to tell us. We get angry because we don't have our raisins for our porridge, right? I was in a cafe now because, you know, I'm very lazy, so I didn't have anything to do. But there's one person that I haven't been able to see the time they're here invited me, so I went over there, and there was this person, and he received the coffee, and he said, "No, no, it's not hot enough. Can you make it? Can you make it back?" And I said, "Yeah, very good. You know, there's nothing wrong with that." But then the person just gave it back and did a face of like, and I said, there is the anger. There is exactly the frustration and the mental state that makes us suffer. And that is very important for us to recognize. That's why the Buddha started teaching, as I like to say, if the Buddha was nowadays, everybody would say that he has no methodology because he's starting with the worst part, which is, you know, everything is suffering. people would say, don't do that, man. You know, like people from marketing, they would say, don't do that. No, no, no. It's not gonna sell it, you know, it's not gonna work. Don't do that. You talk about the shiny part, the like nice part, you know. Buddha said, no, 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 don't worry. I know what I'm doing, right? He had really direct understanding that if we don't understand the type of suffering that we are talking about, forget about it. So he was talking about dukkha. That is the word. Unfortunately, we translate it as suffering. And for most of us, suffering seems that what is happening, I don't know, maybe in Gaza or maybe like, you know, what happened with the floods in Texas, right? Something that is like an extreme event that creates some sort of suffering. However, that was not the Buddha was talking about. The Buddha was talking about this unsatisfactory like aspect of the mind. We're always dissatisfied. Even when we have the coffee, we will find a way to say that the coffee is not good enough. Even if we are in, you know, Bob is in Hawaii now because he has a wedding. Bob is in Hawaii. No, he's not getting married him, okay, Bob, you know. So Buddy has a wedding over there. So he's kind of like, even there, I'm sure we can find people suffering, even in Hawaii, right? Because you go over there and you think that everything should be in a certain way and you really try to control everything. No, not us, okay, everybody else. But like we try, like the person tries to control everything, and then something goes out of control. And then dissatisfaction, right? Do you recognize that? Yeah, do you recognize that aspect in your own mind? So important. Because otherwise, if we don't recognize that, we are gonna not be able to talk about the topic that we are gonna talk today, which is called compassion. Yes. And today I'm gonna insult all of you very much. So don't worry about it, okay? If you already don't like me, you will have the possibility of not liking me very much, okay? When I start insulting you. Because I'm gonna talk about what is not compassion. Yes. And maybe we might see ourselves, you know, in that aspect of not practicing compassion, but believing we are practicing compassion. And especially in this type of Buddhism that we call the Mahayana Buddhism, right? The Mahayana Buddhism, it means that the motivation underneath whatever action we do with our body, speech, and mind is to transform our body, speech, and mind to help others, right? So then what happens? People listen to this and say, wow, this is so nice, you know, compassion and helping others. And then we put the cape of the helpers, ta-da, you know, and we go out and we fix the entire world. And what we do, we create more suffering for ourselves and others. That's actually what sometimes happens, right? Why? Because we are practicing. That's the first moment I'm insulting us, us as well, because I'm involved. Is stupid compassion. That's what we are doing. We are actually doing what we think it is compassion, but we just stupid compassion. Why? Because of the first problem or the first teachings of the Buddha. We don't understand what suffering is. We don't. So we think that just being nice to others, just being talking like, hello, yes, I'm the monk, I'm very nice, like this, you know? That is what compassion means. Hmm? That's what we think that really compassion is about. And then we start to kind of like be, you know, kind of like a very fluffy and very helpful. And no, no, I can do it. Yes, yes, no, I help and all of that. And then what ends up is that then the first time or the first moment that that person doesn't thank you, anger comes up, right? You know, and that happens not only in the Buddhist center, but family wise as well, you know, like we say, but I'm helping my kids and my kids don't say thank you to me, or the opposite, you know, I'm helping my mom doesn't say thank you to me, right? Isn't it? That is called stupid compassion. That's what you're practicing. Why is it stupid? Because you are not doing it like anything to make the suffering go away, right? Because for that, we need to start understanding that the causes of this dissatisfaction, it's exactly those type of mindset. the mental states of anger, attachment, jealousy, pride. Where's my pride friend? Chrissy, he's there? Where is he? Okay, he's the best sleeping meditator there is, you know? He's very good at sleeping meditation. The sofa sleeping meditation. So we talk about pride, we talk about, we talked about all of these in the last few weeks, isn't it? For almost 3 months now. June, July, August. Yeah, almost 3 months we've been talking about these things. So then we need to understand, we really need to understand. As our friend, I forgot your name, sweetheart. You. Mary. Mary said last week, but but I like anger, right? No, but and then where's our friend? What's her name? Stacy. Stacy said, but even if she's right, she doesn't not have a allowed to be anger. Yeah, this is the mental stage that we need to start checking if they actually are our friends and if they're gonna give us the aim of happiness and not suffer. Huh? That is the point. If we are not using our minds and our bodies and our speech to decrease and eliminate those mental states, we are never going to find happiness in the absence of suffering. Therefore, what I promised you that we will go into enlightenment today, it cannot happen. So that is the point. The point is that whatever we do, we need to check first if we are decreasing and eliminating our self-centeredness, our selfish attitude, our anger, our attachment, our jealousy, our pride. So that's how we start to check if what we are doing is compassion or stupid compassion. Do you understand? Yes? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what is kind of like the definition of what stupid compassion is? Because if we are doing whatever we are doing to actually make people like us and see us as amazing as, as kind of like I need attention, I need that, then I'm just making myself more proud, making myself more, selfish and self-centered, then suffering comes. Because the moment the person doesn't say thank you, what happens? That idea that I had, it was what the motivation for helping the other person was, is not fulfilled. Therefore, I suffer. Makes sense what I'm saying? Yes. So that is very important for us to start understanding that is what we can actually need to start checking when we are using compassion. Huh? When we are really trying to kind of like be compassionate about others. Because that is normally what we do, is that we try to create that external idea of what compassion is. Isn't it? And that is something that for me was magical. It was like, like if there was a cartoon, like a filming me and I become a cartoon, it would be that moment that the light bulb goes like, because I started to realize that compassion is not an external aspect and act, but compassion, it's an inner motivation. And the result of that inner motivation, we can become compassion or not. Because it doesn't make for Buddhism an act of compassion just giving money or just giving clothes or food to someone. Why? Because if you're doing that with the intention, with the motivation of self-centered, of people watching you on Instagram and liking you because you're doing something good, then you're creating more suffering for yourself. Even if you're helping that person, but for you, you're creating suffering. You're creating the causes for habituating your mind again and again to look for that. Then we are still using others. Sorry, yes, I said that I was going to kind of like insult you, yeah? So that's what it starts. We start to use others for us to be seen as ta-da, the savior. Right? I said already a few times, if you came here because you wanted to fluffy, words and like this, then maybe you get your money back from Anthony and Rebecca, huh? Because here it's self-responsibility, huh? It's not about just kind of like thinking about, oh, okay, just listening. Oh, yeah, this is very good. No, it's to check within ourselves. Do I do that? And if I do that, how can I transform it? How can I actually make sure that I am not doing stupid compassion? So we need to understand stupid compassion, right? And the first way is check the motivation. Am I doing that in a way that is going to decrease my self-cherishing, my self-centeredness? Is it going to help me to decrease my attachment, right? Decrease my pride, decrease my anger. If yes, then great, do it. If not, think twice. And then start to really be, as I like to say, creative. Creative doesn't only mean externally, but also internally, in a way to find ways to counteract your own mind, right? To check your mind that is kind of like so used to kind of like be the giver in the family, or be the one that, that receives only, or the one that kind of like knows and the helper, Yeah, we know these people, or then, that we kind of like feel that we need to help all the time, or that we are kind of like, we are needed. We want to be needed. Hmm? Because when we start to see that, then that feeling of dissatisfaction that the Buddha was talking about is just increasing, right? Because it's not going to be, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the world, and that happens, I was reading something recently, I can't remember what it was, about the people who won Oscars or Grammys and all of that. Their sense of fulfillment afterwards goes like boom, because they got it, but they actually didn't got it, right? They didn't get what they actually wanted. Recognition or, yes, they got, but it's gone. Now they need to do something more so they can continue being recognized, right? Same. It's just like the never ending. That is what the Buddha was talking about. That was the Buddha was really strongly trying to make us being aware of it. Hmm? Because what happens that when we start to do this stupid compassion is that we are still doing things for ourselves. Nothing to do with the other. As I say, we use others, right? Or we start to be a people pleaser. Yes, I know nobody here. But we just start to be people pleaser. We just want to please others because we don't want them to get angry at me. Hmm? And actually, practicing compassion, I have to say to you that will normally include making some people a bit angry, right? We can't please others all the time. You can't be able to think that we can develop a mind that will decrease our self-centeredness and will actually decrease our attachments and all of that without making others angry. And sometimes we just need to think about the benefit of it. Because if you reduce your self-centeredness, your negative mindset, your attachment, your anger, the manifestation of yourself in the world will be without these emotions. You understand what I'm saying? Therefore, when we talk about a peaceful world and a world of peace, and how can we do that if we don't do that inside of ourselves first? Right? How can we talk about compassion if we don't actually have compassion first about ourselves? So now we're going to talk about what is self-compassion in Buddhism. Self-compassion in Buddhism has three things that you need to all have: Netflix, spa, and beach. Okay? So better thing is actually to have kind of like a hot bath, what is it? Hot, hot, no, like a water that like jacuzzi with Netflix and popcorn inside of the thing. Then yes. then you have self-compassion. No? This, and bubbles. That's how, yeah. That's how we think self-compassion is sometimes. No? We need these, we need that. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do these things. Please, taking care of your bodies and your mind is very important. But what Buddha was talking about self-compassion here was developing our wish to be free from suffering. If we don't develop that for ourselves, how we can want to help others to be free from suffering? So what self-compassion means is when you catch yourself starting to get angry with someone, starting to be, in that mental loop of, the narrator, yeah? And especially the negative narrator that is just talking about, criticizing, judging others and all of that. When you start to see that, when you really see that, then you want it to be free from that. You say, I'm tired of this. However, let's pay attention. Because normally what we do is that we do like this. I don't want to feel it. No, 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 there's nothing here. Nothing here. No, 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 no. No, are you angry? No. 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 That's how he goes. No, everything's okay, honey. It's no problem. Yes, yes, yes. Like that, right? So actually, what we need to start, it's allowing that emotion to be there. As I said, we are doing the Lojong mind training on Thursdays. Our friends that are coming, strong people, really trying to listen to my blah, blah, blah twice a week, 3 times a week. People are very crazy. So, then we start to see, as the Dalai Lama said, the manifested emotion. The emotion is already there. Let's face it. When we think about it, I shouldn't be getting angry. Anger is already there. Okay? So don't think that you can kind of like fool yourself that is like, I'm not angry. Because if you already think I'm not angry, the anger is already there. Okay? So anger is already there. So you need to do something about it. You need to know what to do with it. And in Buddhism, we're going to try to do 2 things mainly. First, recognize the negative aspect of that mindset. Yeah? Recognize how anger is bad for you, for others, for your body, for your mind, for everything. And how it creates suffering for others, right? I had so many lunches and dinners this time. You guys have been very kind. And I had one with my friend Jamie over there. And we were discussing. We say anger plus anger just creates more anger. So if you don't think, about controlling your anger, how can you want to help the other person? Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So self-compassion is when you see that. You see the mind of anger and you say, oh, wow, this is bad for me first. This is not allowing me to be okay, relax, well, open, calm. And if we're gonna do it, I had one of the most nice experiences this time because I had dinner at a house with 4 boys, 22 years old, 3 triplets, and one 16, and we had 4 hours talk. We talked so much. It was so special. I had this incredible, incredible, incredible experience with them. It was so nice. And we were talking about that, And one of the things is how compassion actually helps our minds and our bodies. Our completely changes. There are studies. There's so many studies right now. So many, so many. And honestly, if you go online, you will find hundreds of research on compassion. And what they are coming to the point is actually practicing compassion helps your body, helps your mind, helps your health, helps your nervous system, your cardio system, helps everything. Best thing, best than multivitamin from Whole Foods. Yeah, much better. Practicing compassion is why? Because it makes our body immediately relax, right? So the tension, the cortisol that is like making us like this, starts to open the heart. Starts to make that feeling of openness, especially makes the anxiety goes away and makes it us connect. Because the self-centeredness and the anger and the attachment, they are very selfish mindsets, so they isolate us. Yeah. When we are kind of like depressed or something like this, we are so thinking about ourselves, and we kind of like go and, oh, it's the worst thing is me, it's happening to me. But we start to open the heart towards others, then we start to stop, we counteract that feeling of loneliness. So compassion is best than everything, best medicine, right? So that is why we need to start developing that sense of compassion. Because in Buddhism, the definition of compassion is wanting others to be free from suffering. But for others to be suffering, we need to start with oneself. And the type of suffering that Buddhism is talking about when we say we want others to be free from suffering is the suffering that the Buddha taught, which is dissatisfaction. It's not the normal type of suffering. It's the dissatisfaction that we are talking about, that we want to help others to be free from. You understand what I'm saying? So for doing that, we need the wisdom of understanding the mind, understanding compassion, understanding how we can actually develop that first in within ourselves. Otherwise, forget about it. If I cannot help myself to be free from suffering, it's like I am like in the ocean, someone is drowning and I don't know how to swim, and I'm gonna try to help the other person. Not gonna be very useful, right? Probably the lifeguards are gonna have to save you and the other person, right? That's what the Buddhas and the gurus does with them. They're so kind and patient, like, okay, come back, like yeah, it's like that, because we think that we can. So that's why compassion is very funny, because compassion, self-compassion is first developing that wish to free ourselves. And then we expand towards others. And then we expand that is the way that we can help others to help them free themselves from that dissatisfied mind. So that helps if we understand we cannot, in very practical terms, change anyone. We can't. What we can is help them to develop the wisdom, develop the tools so they can do that self-work within themselves. Makes sense what I'm saying? That's what when compassion starts to become something useful, because then we can start by developing ourselves and decreasing our self-cherishing, decreasing our negative emotions, decreasing our anger, our attachment, and developing that wish to help others. We're going to start to become creative. We're going to stop worrying about if someone is going to judge me or not, if I'm going to say something to that person, if I'm going to lose my friend, even if I have to say something that they might not like. Compassion, as I like to say, is the most courageous attitude, because it's not about you. And to go out of yourself to do something really for others, you need a lot of courage. You have to, because you need to trust that your motivation is to help. And for that, you need to do first with yourself. And then the more you do it, the more you see the benefits of it, the more you start to see how it actually works. Because compassion is the best investment, win-win situation. Why? The other person wins and you win. Why? Because you're decreasing your self-cherishing, you're decreasing your negativities, so you become happier. So as the Dalai Lama likes to say, we need to stop stupid compassion. He doesn't say stupid compassion. This is bad mouth Kalden, that's right. But he says, be wisely selfish. So what means wisely selfish? Means you practice compassion towards yourself and others with that understanding. And then you will achieve the happiness that you want. That inner happiness. That mind which is completely open, completely kind, completely warm, and not disturbed by my petty little me. My story, my thing, me. That's what is making us suffer. When we wake up and we just think about ourselves. What do I want, how I want, and not I want, my coffee, my raisins, my days. No. And even if it is with, no, but I have a family of 4 boys and all of that, even that, we make sure that we are also practicing without that idea, right? Of attachment, of anger, of kind of like this mindset. We actually start to use everything that we do to check the mind, to use that as a way to find happiness, to find that mindset which will be help us to be free from our sufferings. That's what how compassion can be special. That's how compassion is so powerful. Because unfortunately nowadays we think that compassion is becoming first the fixer of all, right? We need to fix everything. So someone comes to you and you're like, yeah, okay, so yeah, this, yeah, well, okay, we're gonna fix that. Or don't worry, I have it all. Like I'll fix for you, right? The person doesn't want that. The person sometimes just wants to be heard, right? Listen to. But if you're already having an idea about what compassion is, how it should be done, and what is the best for the person, there's no space for the person's needs. It's still about you. Therefore, if it is only about you and you performing the character or the superhero of compassion, what's the benefit of it? For the other person, zero. They just became another to-do list, another things that your to-do list, and you're kind of like check, check, check. Oh yes, okay, I need to be. That's my problem sometimes, you read all of these things about compassion and sometimes like, yes, practice compassion by texting a friend or all of these, and I say, oh, that's very good. But if you're just doing it because of a list, right? Yes, it's good. It's already better than not saying like not checking in with your friends, with your family. But if it becomes just another thing to do, in Buddhism, it doesn't mean anything. Because Buddhism is an inner science. Remember? It's inside of the mind, and especially the motivation behind. Because the motivation will bring about the result that we want. That is how it works. If we don't work on our motivation, therefore, we're going to continue be creating causes for suffering for ourselves and others. So that is why compassion is such an important thing to understand. Why? Because it's the method in Buddhism. It's the why we are doing things and the how. Right? And because compassion is just the beginning in Buddhism. It's the beginning for our developing an even stronger motivation. We in compassion we talk about, because we talked about last week about equanimity, remember? So compassion means to all equally. That is already established. So we already talked about equanimity. You guys already perfected equanimity, so you guys already know that, right? But that is already established that when we are talking about compassion, we are talking about all equally. Not my friend, then I'm treat well. That person no, that person I can help, that person I don't want to help. Why? Because we understand the suffering. And the more we start to actually connect with the suffering of our own suffering, we start to see in others. Right? I was very bad when I was in this dinner with this beautiful family and the boys, because I was talking some things about the boys, and they say, but why are you saying that? And I say, because I can see it in myself, right? Because I recognize in myself some of these sufferings, so then you can see in others. And when you see that, then you connect. Then you say, exactly the same, exactly the same, in wanting to be happy and not to suffer. And then you can see that the way you're trying to achieve that is creating some stories, right? And creating some ideas and attachments and fears and hopes and all of that, that what will bring us? More suffering. Buddhism is saying, wake up. That's why, that he was the awakened one, the Buddha. That's what it means. He woke up for this, for these stories of the Mayans. Say, don't go there. Don't be fooled like I was fooled for so many lifetimes. Don't do that. Wake up for your mind and check the motivation, because if you are going to increase more your self-charity, increasing more your attachment, this, no compassion. And that is the problem, because we think that compassion is outside. So we see someone being nice to others, we say, oh, so nice, right? And maybe, yes, it is. There is a benefit in there. I'm not saying there is not, but we don't know the mind and the intention of the person. Do we? I don't know you guys, but I cannot see it, you know? So even if the person is doing something that it might look like compassion in the conventional way, we just need to check our minds first, right? Makes sense? That is why it's important. So yes, okay, you go and volunteer. Please do that. Very good. But check your mind. Because if you're just doing it to be kind of like, put it on the CV, even if it is the good person CV, the good Samaritan CV, just like, look, yes, I do my job. But I don't like these people. I just do it like, because that is also something that happens normally. Also, when we practice compassion, there is a sense of pity sometimes, right? And pity is our friend. Where is our pride friend? He's like, I am here and people are there. Oh, poor people. No? So it's about me helping others. Because I'm so generous. Isn't it? So that is the type of mind that is not compassion in Buddhism. There's no way compassion. Because it's just making you more proud, right? And seeing and self-pity is like, oh yeah, these people. So that's what I say. Okay, so if you like to go to like, help the homeless and all of that and do this, okay, very good, do that. But also go and help in the, I don't know, the politicians. Those that that really make you angry, that really make you kind of like, go and help them. Or you don't like to work with older people, only with kids or things like that. Go help with the old people then, right? Challenge yourself. So that's why I'm saying courageous compassion. Courageous in the sense of you are gonna go and go. It's kind of like fighting your own delusions, your own negative ways of thinking. Makes sense what I'm saying? I know I'm very confused, but I hope it makes sense. Yes? Because that is the idea. That is how we can actually start opening up, really, and really understand that. Otherwise, we don't develop compassion. Otherwise, forget about it. You know? Otherwise, the Buddha is just saying, okay, we cannot develop compassion. Why? Because compassion goes growing in Buddhism. Because compassion in the beginning, Buddhism is just that idea of equanimity, right? Seeing everybody the same, wanting to be happy and not suffer. And then, okay, I'm gonna like help them. But then in Buddhism, we go even further and we say, when we are ready, when we start to commit and say, I really want to work on my compassion, I start to say, I will make them free from this suffering. I will really help them. Hmm? So then the more I decide to wanted to do that, then I start to see, but I'm not there yet, right? I still have flaws. I still have these. I have limitations. My compassion is limited and conditional. So in order to do that, I need to achieve the enlightened state. I need to become a Buddha. Buddha is a mental state. It's a mental state where it's free from the suffering and has all the qualities. All of them perfected. Means unconditional and unlimited love, compassion, kindness, patience. How about that? Then you can help others. Really, truly. So I'm saying to you, okay, don't help anyone until you're a Buddha. No. If you say that, Kalden is gonna be scolding you, and then you're gonna see Kalden, you know, you know. But what you're saying is that start from where you are. Just see from where you are. Don't try to create something else, right? Don't try to be someone that you're not. You already do that all the time with all the things. So don't do it with compassion, right? So we just start from where we are, and then we go wanting because now we are taking the responsibility and the wish to help others. Therefore, there is even more wish to work on ourselves, right? There's more kind of like, yes, I want to develop this. I want to develop my mind. I want to open my heart. I want to do that. So that becomes a fuel for your practice, becomes a fuel for your wish to help others, right? That is how wonderful is how compassion is. So then compassion transforms into that wish to help others, into that kind of like, and that commitment, or that responsibility almost, if I can say like this. And that responsibility says, okay, to do that, I need to achieve enlightenment. So that mind, it's called bodhicitta in Buddhism. Bodhi means the awakened mind, the enlightened mind. And chitta means mind. So it means I need to develop this awakened mind in myself so I can help others. So then compassion is just the basis where we start in order to develop our lives entirely towards that. And remember, I used to say to you guys, like Lama Zopa Rinpoche, precious guru, he didn't used to sleep, never lay down, never, ever. Just stay there and praying and doing things for others and the 24/7. And many people, of course, would ask Rinpoche, how Rinpoche? How? You know? And he used to say, bodhicitta, that mind that wants to help others. Right? Because if you do that, then you have energy for everything. Right? Then nothing's a problem. Because you're just there, you're using your body, speech, and mind to help others. So it's like a ever flowing essence, right? And how do you say um, endless source, right? It's like a spring water, always coming water, 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 but it's also coming love and compassion and kindness all the time, all the time, all the time. Because that's what we have within ourselves. We have these essence within ourselves right here and right now, but we create the conditions, we create the conditioning, the limitation. We can just be that, be bodhicitta, right? So everything that we do is for benefiting others. So then there's no like tiredness, you know. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, this person is that, okay, we do that. Oh yeah, and you die, we do that. Yes, because you know, but with wisdom, right? It's not just doing whatever the person says. That's why I say that I'm not the best person when people need like someone to talk about, like, oh yes, this person is very bad to me, kind of like if you want to listen to hear someone saying, yes, you are right and they are wrong, don't call me, okay? Because I'm probably gonna say to you, well, can you check your mind? Can you check your motivation? You understand? So that is when wisdom comes. Wisdom comes for wanting to help others to see the source of their suffering. And the source of their suffering is not in the person, is not in the object, is not in the job, is not in the car, is not in the phone, is not anywhere besides in the mind. In the way we think, the way we perceive, in the way we approach things. So that is when we can actually start helping, because if you start doing that, then how we can actually say help others. So you're going to help others, not because you're just going to do whatever they want, but you're going to help them to spark, like to help them develop that within themselves. How do we do that? We do it ourselves first. Yeah, that's obvious, right? Not so obvious in our minds, but it is, you know? So that is when, Lama Yeshe has a very good book. I think we finished over there. Becoming Your Own Therapist. Huh? I think more. And what he was talking about was that He said, we need to become our own therapist. We need to develop within ourselves that knowledge and that compassion to know how to transform our minds from the negative side and to develop the good qualities. That's what we can. And the more we do that, the more we can help others to do the same. Not just like make a massage or give food and all of that. Yes. Because if people don't have even food, shelter, medicine, and all of that, how are they going to even think about, inner work, inner wisdom? They don't. We give them that, and then we help them to see that. And if you think about it, many people that are going through some of these situations, they also have a lot of equanimity. They really kind of like connect with the suffering of others. Hmm? So we need to connect with our own suffering so we can see when someone is suffering. I understand that suffering. It doesn't need to be the same thing as I like, like someone lost their family member or something like this, and you cannot. No, but it's the suffering of being kind of like separated by something that we like, someone. We all have that experience. That you understand. So then you connect with that suffering in you, and you say, "Understand where this person is coming from. I understand that suffering." But unfortunately, that suffering comes because we are believing that this person is fixed, permanent, never gonna die. Well, we maybe do something to help this person. See, things are impermanent, right? People die. Even the little dog that we love so much, the little cat's gonna die. So we just need to do that with ourselves, develop that, and then we start to develop with others. Yes? Makes sense. You guys are very quiet today. What's going on? Hmm? Anything about compassion? Everybody understood? Yes, Vanessa.
But the question is,
Yes.
where comes other?
Mhm.
Sometimes, even though at older age, maybe it kind of got it, and it's time to help when it's not. But how do we know? Um, for example, someone asks for money.
Yes.
I need money for
Drugs.
food.
Okay, okay. Food.
Food.
Okay.
Or not help, because some people do take advantage of others.
Mm-hmm.
Even though sometimes if I am out and if I give money to a homeless person and there's
Yeah.
always that friend that say, "Oh, you're going to use for drugs
Yeah.
or alcohol, whatever," and I said, "It's their problem."
Mm-hmm.
I gave it to them, right? From that point on, even if they say they want for food and I need for
Yes.
food and they do something else,
Yes.
to me, it's their conscience, not
Mhm.
mine,
Very good.
right?
So you got the answer. You do it because you are doing it.
Like family members. And then
Yes.
so like, I help, do I
So then you need to wait until next week when we're going to talk about love and attachment. That is the problem. You understand? The problem is that with family members, we think it's love because it's our family member. It's exactly the same, but it's actually attachment because we are much more afraid of what this person might do to us, even if it is say to us they don't like us anymore, or they want to kind of like or something like that. But the homeless, right? If they say I don't care or they do whatever they want, it's their problem. You just said yourself, right? So that is the problem. Is the attachment, your attachment, that is kind of like literally conditioning you, right? And that's why I said compassion is courageous. Compassion might mean you saying and kind of like might I said that phrase, losing the friend, right? Because you know it is the right thing to do.
opposite?
Mhm.
What do you mean sometimes? Because I get people sometimes asking me money for food because they don't have any meat at home.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, if I would eat by myself, I would not have any meat at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it in 51 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it without meat too.
Mm.
So then I just don't give it.
So you
But then
veganism, vegan and vegetarian. I'm making fun.
without eating meat in a family.
Yeah. So you think they don't need it?
People, because they're like, oh, but yes, I have pasta, I have rice, I have this and that, but I don't have any meat. And I think to myself, so you have food.
Yes. But then you need to check where the motivation comes. That is the difference. So as I say, it's not about giving the food or not giving the food. But for example, if you think that but look at how the mind can be extremely powerful, okay? If you think that, oh, if I'm gonna give meat to this person, that means an animal is gonna be killed and someone is gonna be killing an animal. That means that there is a negative karma, a negative habit happening and suffering happening. And I don't want that to happen. Yes? So it is about these people, it is about these animals. You're relaxed, and you just say to the person, I'm not gonna give you money for food, for meat. I can give you money for protein powder, whatever. If it is a protein problem. That's it. So the mind is clear from the intention. You understand? The problem is that when we are completely attached to ideas, to and self is centered in the way that I know what is right or wrong, you're not thinking about the other person. So then you invert it, kind of like transform, pew, and then you say, wait a minute, if that happens, it's going to have all of this suffering. So I don't want this suffering to happen, right? Of course, what is going to start in the beginning is that you're going to start using that as an excuse. Yeah, let's face it, that's what it is. But you just go trying to really create that wish, right? Then you come with Nepal next time we go to Nepal, and then you're going to go on the way to Kopan, to the monastery, all of these butchers, and they all bring the goat outside, right? Then you see, that happening, right? And then you say, oh, wow, if this is happening here, in America doesn't happen that because sanitary problems, right? But you do kind of like, you don't, but that's how it's happening. So you say, oh, I don't want that to happen anymore. So then you really start to transform and really become authentic. You understand? Yes? So you go from there with everything. You start to use that as a way to transform your mind to really care about others and care in the sense of decreasing the negativities and the suffering. Yes, makes sense? Good. Yes, we do.
Okay, follow up to that, because I think money is a point of contention.
Never.
So if a family member, let's use that situation, comes to you and says, I need money, but it's due to their own suffering. Maybe they mismanage their money, or they spend recklessly, and they're like, oh, I don't have money for something important, like
Yes.
rent, which is not patched to like a negative karma.
Yes.
How do we compassionately say no?
N-O. Yes, that's how we do it, right? The word is the same. Yes, the intention. Is the intention. Is because, like, family members, as I was saying to her, is difficult because there's the attachment, right? What we call love, but it's actually attachment, right? So of course there's love. We want that person to be happy. So that's why that's the definition of love. Is like we want others to be happy, right? So we want them to be happy, but then we understand what happiness is. Happiness doesn't come from, the Netflix, the Amazon Prime, and all of that. It's a mental state that is free from those negativities. And if we are increasing that attachment of that person, then we're not helping them, right? And we start to needing to develop that wish. So we need to be creative because we know that person, because they are the family member. So we know what triggers, what doesn't trigger. So we know what is the best way to deliver that message. Right? Because sometimes, yeah, and I say, yes, it's going to be difficult. The person might be, I had that problem with a person close to me, right? When I was in finance in the last life, past life, because of that. Because the person would always ask for money, right? And then at some point I said, I'm not helping them, right? And I had to sit down and talk and say, look, I do have the money, but if I continue, you're always going to be thinking that your actions don't have consequences, right? So you will need, I'm going to have to do that to you because I know that is going to be hard, but you're going to need to figure out a way, right? So just kind of like try to check. It doesn't make you less, because that was the problem with the person. The person thought that they were less, so they were always putting them down, and then always try to compensating with spending, with paying, with all of that, right? So I said, look at that first. So I said, I'm gonna give you money to do therapy if you want. You understand? Or pay to come for blah 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 from Kalden, maybe best. You understand? So that's it. Then they start to really work on their minds. Then you start to help them get out and recognizing their suffering.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
if they decide.
If they decide, yes, we cannot. And if not, you need to be clear in your mind. That is also okay. Then there's no guilt, right? Because that is when it starts. Because the guilt comes from I'm a bad person because a good person helps the family. And then actually helping the family in this way is just feeding the attachment. My attachment. I'm not talking about the attachment of the person, my attachment towards that person. You understand? So that's when it becomes Dharma practice. Because then it's going to go against a mental state that is negative. Make sense? Yes?
Did you say that again? It goes against what?
I have no idea what I said. No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying that Dharma, practicing Dharma, is doing something that is going to counteract your attachment, your negative tendencies. Only that. If not, if you are doing something that is increasing that, no Dharma. So that is why, you can be giving money to others, but you're not practicing Dharma. You giving, to family members, but what are you doing? Just increasing that attachment, that link, that need. This person needs me, so I am important, so I need to exist. So yes, they're gonna give me happiness, right? It is still going outside looking. That's why I say Buddhism, the word Buddhist is very important to understand. Because Buddhist means in Tibetan, ngang pa. Ngang means inner. Pa means being. So it's an inner being. What does it mean, an inner being? There's a being like like this. Inner being means I am gonna stop going outside to look for the responsibility of my suffering and my happiness. I'm gonna go that way. I'm gonna use my inner world, my inner mind, my inner mental state in order to discover the ways to be happy and not suffer, to achieve my aim of being happy and not suffer. Because that's what all of us want. Even all the different religions, the different things, everybody just wants that, to be happy and not suffer. The difference is that in Buddhism, we're going to try to find the tools inside of ourselves. That is what the inner being is, right? And then there was a question here or something. Who? Are you? Sorry, sweetie.
When you had said, oh, I'll give you therapy.
Yeah.
Isn't that control? And do you pay for the therapy so they don't use the money for something else?
Well, control, it doesn't necessarily is good or bad, right? Nothing is good or bad by nature. It all depends on the motivation and the intention, right? And that is very hard to understand, truly understand, because we start to think that control is like, but if you have that kind of like knowledge, right, that understand, because you did therapy, because you came here, you know the benefits of it, and you know that these would help that person, you can suggest, as our friend said, you cannot force anyone to go to therapy. Come to therapy, like this, or come here,
But do you give them the money to pay for therapy because they may not, or do you pay for it? I mean, that's.
Well, but that is a way to positively helping them. to find a solution to actually will eradicate the problem in the first place, right? That is always my concern, because when after finance, I went into charity to work for charities, and I had so many problems with charities that would just give money and not create the causes to take out those people from that situation. You understand what I mean? That is what I'm talking about. It makes sense now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because yes, I sometimes I do that. I'm confused. Yes?
Example for her.
Yes, good.
So
Share with us.
somehow. So my cousin didn't have money because she has depression,
Mhm.
and I was paying all of it. And I'm like, this is not helping
Yes,
because the problem is the depression.
yes,
So I told her from now on, I guess maybe I paid the next month bill. From now on, I'm paying you a therapist,
yes,
not more money, because I'm not fixing the problem. You're always going to need money.
yes,
So first she went for the therapy for 1 month, and she said, no. I really need the money. The money for the therapy, you give it to me. And I
Yes.
said, no.
yes,
She stopped it for a month, then call me. Can I go back to therapy?
yes.
Okay. And now she's doing good and working in it.
You see? But because what she's saying is that she was courageous enough to know that maybe my cousin is going to hate me, right?
That was okay.
That is the courageous aspect of compassion. We forget about ourselves. We forget about it. It's not about us. So that's why no, I like to use the word control, because control can be very misused and money can be very misused, right? Because we think and normally if we think about when money is misused, it's just because I don't want to have the problem, right? I just want to get rid of the problem. Hmm? So, but actually getting rid of the problem is might not help, because might actually be not only paying for therapy, but you going to therapy with this person, you kind of like actively having to get out of your white horse, and be there helping that person. You understand?
Mhm.
So that is when the mind becomes creative. Then the minds become like anything is possible, right? If I have to clean the floor, if I have to kind of like be in a meeting with the Pope or the president, I do. You understand?
Mhm.
Whatever it is that is necessary. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Steve, anything? No?
I have a question.
Yes.
So let's go to something very simple.
Yes.
So mothers tend to do all the housework, right? And
Yes.
so we feel it's like a natural state of compassion, I
Yes.
guess,
Yes.
self-sacrifice. How
Yes.
do you deal with that, with like getting your kids to unload the dishwasher?
Yes. Very especially those kids.
But it'll make me feel good. I'm gonna be a good mother, trying to do it for the love of humanity.
That's it. First thing is checking that, right? First is checking why you are wanting to do that, why you're needing to think that you need to do that as well, right? This is the first step. Always look into our mind, our motivation, right? And the motivations normally, as I like to say, that the autopilot that we're gonna check will be selfish, right? It will be, I am getting something out of it, even if it is not exactly what I want, right? Because they're not gonna appreciate it, they're not gonna say yes, but I can put in my CV that I am a good mom. The CV that I created for myself. You understand about that? That this the correct what? Resume. Sorry, the resume. Yes, the resume. Yes, the kind of like the resume that says kind of like this is Kalden language. Do you know this resume that says I am a good mother? Why? Because you identified yourself with that image. You created the conditions for the role, right? You created all of this, and I need to fulfill that. Hmm? So that is first, right? To check that, because if that is it, it's already not about helping the guys, the boys. Hmm? Not. This is about you. Then, second, you will need to also have the courage to let them not like you. That is it, right? Is the moment that is kind of like is the difficulty, because it's just like how it's going to be if I actually start to put limits and put kind of like like in certain ways, because these will help them, right? So then you start to slowly with the courageous mind, knowing that this is going to be beneficial for them. Right? So that's when I know that compassion works about, because compassion is kind of like you take out the direction which is coming from you. You understand? And you go towards what is best for the person, even if you don't get anything out of it. Actually, you opposite. You get only right? But if you have the pure, relaxed mind about your motivation, you're there. They talk whatever they want. Yes, okay, okay, dishes, okay, dishes, okay, dishes, whatever. You understand? Doesn't matter. You just continue because you have that internally. Hmm? That is kind of like how easily you start to develop also a good self-confidence of yourself and of being a mother, of being a person, of being this. Say, oh, actually, doing things that might look like causing harm for my sons, for my children, is actually helping them. You understand? That is the confusion part normally we have. The confusion is that, oh, because if I just like, but they're gonna be traumatized or whatever, they're gonna be. No, they're not. They're just gonna kind of like start to feel the kind of like the responsibility of, if they want a clean house, if they want a nice place to live, they're gonna have to contribute for that.
They don't care about it.
Then they do it for you. Then they do it for you, right? Then
Create opportunities for them to want to have it.
yes, you need to not only create opportunities for them to want a clean house, but for them to practice generosity and kindness to you then.
Yeah.
Right? That is very important as well. It's like, okay, just do it for me then. Then it looks like you're being selfish, but it's not. That's why, what she said is so important. We have these very strong ideas of control, of what selfish, but in Buddhism, we don't have that. Everything can be done, because of the intention. That is the goal. Helps? They're going to scold me after I said that to them. Yes, sweetheart.
Mindfulness and compassion.
Two worlds apart. Yes. Mindfulness is just an aspect of the mind that recognizes, aware of whatever is happening in the moment, without judgment, without anything. You're just observing, you're just aware, right? Compassion, I don't want to go into many details, but it's a mental factor. So it's something that comes and makes that main mind of mindfulness, okay, we kind of like taking a specific shape. Okay, and that shape, it is based on that understanding of wanting to benefit others and others not to suffer, right? So then the mindfulness becomes the kind of like the train or the vehicle for that mind of compassion to be manifested. Yes, makes sense. Thank you, dear. Yes, Steve.
What you were saying about, in response to the question about the child that didn't want to do the dishes.
Yes.
There's a story, very brief story. My cousin told me he was having trouble with his 6-year-old.
Mhm.
And she said, "You're not my friend."
Yes.
And he goes, "That's right. My job is not to be your friend, it's to be your father."
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
But she got it.
Yes. Yes. I think that this is very good, but I think it is even better if she can say, I am being your best friend by doing that. Because then you don't create that kind of like image of separation, of kind of like, oh no, my dad or my mom is just my mom and dad, like I think it was Thursday we did it, something about, we talk about when, someone, there's a Lojong training or the mind training text that says, when someone that I love, the more that I kind of like created a lot of kind of like, gave a lot and I benefited a lot and all of that kind of like, and then that person brings me harm, I see this person as my virtuous teacher, my best teacher, right? So that is the idea. And that's why I say that kind of like for me, and the more I learned about Buddhism, to having someone in your life, like a teacher, like, like a guru, like Rinpoche, that even though I wanted certain things and I knew in my, like, oh yeah, I know this is best, he would say no, right? And I would not understand. And sometimes it would take years for me to understand. But then I would follow because I knew every time that I would follow that, I would become a better person, right? So that intention of that person was to help me, in that case, to decrease my negativities, decrease my self-cherishing, decrease my, my behaviors, my negative behaviors, and increase my good qualities. So then when I did that, I was like, that is my best friend, right? So that's why when Rinpoche passed away, for me, was one of the hardest things that ever happened to me, because I lost that guide, right? But Rinpoche really gave us the tools to develop that inner wisdom. That's what Rinpoche wanted, Rinpoche didn't want me to be there. Rinpoche, Rinpoche, Rinpoche. He wanted me kind of like, that's what we need to do. We need to develop that inner wisdom within ourselves, that we can actually accomplish that, right? Because we can. We just need to train, to practice, to kind of like, do things in that direction. So that's why I said in the beginning of the class, it's not enough just to come here 1.5 hours a week and thinking that these are going to transform and change. It helps. It definitely helps. I know what you mean. It helps. But the most important is to apply into your daily life. Then it helps, Then when you go home and then you have the kids and you have to talk about dishwashing, you put into practice. Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? Otherwise, it becomes a more intellectual understanding and not transforming your actually, your mind, your life. That's what it has. That's like everything that we do. It's a manifestation of our inner world, right? All of what we experience. So let's experience that inner and external world as a nice place because we bring it, we transform it inside of ourselves. So that's why this mind of compassion and this mind of bodhicitta is so powerful. If you connect with that within yourself, it's an unlimited source of love and kindness and all of it because you just want to help others.
Is it unconditional love?
It's more than unconditional love. It's an unconditional love with wisdom, right? An unconditional love is that you love everybody equally and you want them to be happy. But because you have the understanding of what happiness means, which means no, not the temporary pleasures only, but a mental state that is free, right? From the negative emotion, from anger, from the... So you want to help them achieve that mental state. But we cannot go inside and say, okay, we cannot do that. So we just transform ourselves and we become a tool to help others. We become a tool to actually help others to do that, right? That is, I think, the idea. And it's very funny because we don't do it sometimes consciously, but by actually changing, a relationship, as I said last week, it's always two people. Of course, you can have more people in one relationship, but it's always like this. And if one point of this relationship changes, the relationship will change, right? So if the change is coming towards peace, love, compassion, kindness, and this, that's what is gonna kind of, as I like to say, contaminate the relationship, isn't it? I don't know if we say that in English, but something like you need two to fight or something like this, or two to tango, something like that. So that's what we need, right? You need two people. So if one is not, and one is not only not doing it, but actually actively wanting for that person that wants to tango, right? Tango, like tango, like this. You know this. So so then if that person not only like don't want that, but actually wants that person to be free and loving and kind and happy, wow, then the relationship will totally transform, right? You understand? It makes sense what I'm saying. This makes sense, because Buddhism is not blind faith, and especially not blind faith of this blah 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 that I'm saying here. So don't believe in anything I say. Not only today and all of these months, don't believe in anything. Okay? Apply to your mind. I spoke too much and I didn't do, we could not do, what's the name of a discussion group today? Okay, but we're gonna have the potluck lunch. So we can use the potluck lunch to the discussion group, okay? So we don't waste our time just speaking blah 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 and food, eating. Nom, 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 nom. No, we also do that for that. So today we don't do that. But so as today is the final day of me being here, I just wanted to thank all of your kindness towards me because I don't deserve any of this because you guys are too kind, you know? I'm just here talking blah 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 and then just being kind of like, sitting and then being fed, and being invited for this year was the Thai food year, I had so much Thai food, so you guys are gonna start instead of listening about burritos, listening about pad thai. Okay. So we're gonna talk about pad thai next week. Okay. We're talk about pad thai. So I just wanted to say thank you so much and to don't forget that we're gonna continue. Okay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just gonna go there. That gonna go inside there. Boom. I don't know how it works, but that's how it's gonna happen. So we continue. So, and the other thing that I feel is very important is that, one of the reasons why we created these discussion groups is for us to be together as a community. We need community. We need people that think and work and help, in the same way so we can feel supported. Because sometimes it's very isolating, the way we kind of like, if we're thinking in ways that everybody's saying, oh, you're a bad mom because you're doing that, right? And then you need to hear from other people like, no, you're not, you're following that, right? So that is the idea of kind of like of being together so we can help each other in this sense. Yeah. So I really, really encourage and request if you can, to continue coming to the center on Sundays, right? Because a place like this, even if I'm not here, it has the energy of the intention, right? It has the energy of the intention. Because all of these beings, all of these things here, they also have that intention. We are just manifesting that intention now, right? It's our time now to do it, to manifest this intention to help the world, to have a better a better human being, to we become a better human being, to have a better world. The world desperately needs that. Okay, so that's why I kind of like really, really, really ask. And not only this, because there's even though we are in a small place, and even though it doesn't look, but it has a lot of effort behind all of this that happens here. We need so many people that this interdependence. So many people needed, to take care of the flowers, to take care of the water, to take care of the cleaning, to take care of this, And we had so many people that they work, right? They have a job, they have family, and they still have to be taking care of the center and making sure that Kalden is like blah blah blah, and then Kalden here and then Kalden sends an email, and then this and then and then kind of like all of this, they're still doing that. So really, really big thank you, especially that we in this center exist for maybe almost 30 years. Wow, like more than 30 years. So if you think about it, so many people have been benefiting from that, and so many people involved in making this happen, right? So just really think about that. We are only here due to the kindness of all of these people that passed, right? All of these people that have done before us. And then we have a choice. We want to just, get the benefits of the efforts of these people, or we want to also continue and give for the next generations to come, right? That's what compassion is about. Okay? So we just think about that. And especially these two people over here. Okay? Because we had we had kind of like we had many incredible directors. We had Jackie who founded the place, and then for a while we had many other people, and then we have Nicole who is here as well. Like help it so much. We had Rebecca was here before, and then Nicole, and then Rebecca came back because she's so crazy, So she got it, and not only this, but then she even made me come. So then became more crazy. Like, I make everybody crazy, So then she comes. So then she has. But now, due to the kindness of Anthony, Anthony will be our new father taking care of us. But of course, we need help, so if you can help in any way, always good, anything is good here. We can help in whatever way. And it's also very good for the mind, to just come and then say, okay, what we can do? Oh, we need to take care of the flowers. Oh, no, we need to help this, set up the gompa, set up the space, take out, whatever, just good. It's just good for the place, good for your mind, good for your body, always good. So I just wanted to thank them very, very much, so much for everything you've done to me.
So-
I'm so, 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 so spoiled. I come here, they take care of me so much. So I just wanted to say thank you so much. Wait a minute, I have gifts.
Okay.
No, 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 no.
No, we have gifts first.
No gifts, no gifts, no gifts, no.
They're doing this, we have Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's not stopping, not just
Yes.
Monday. So
Yes, we have Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Okay, so, because they need a lot of energy to deal with me, I brought best coffee from Brazil. So they can come here, Rebecca. So thank you so much. This is for you to have a lot of energy to continue taking care of all of us. And this is a blessed string that was blessed by one of my teachers, Kandrila Rinpoche, who is the oracle of the Dalai Lama. And, so this is for her to bless her and to really, really always, these things as to when we look and we remind ourselves what we're doing here, to transform the mind, inner being, right? To go inside, not to go outside. Okay, sweetheart? So you put here. You just put here, and then you can. Thank you so much for everything, sweetheart. Thank you so much. And now for the new director, he's gonna need even more. I should have drink 2 coffees. He's gonna need a lot of energy, so he can also be, and that the new time here must be very blessed for you to continue helping us and manifesting all your good wishes. So thank you so much, dear. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. And all of you for you.
And Venerable Kalden, while you were talking about what Rebecca has contributed to the center, we did want to show very quickly. As Venerable Kalden mentioned, she was so nice, she did it twice, serving as director again. And for this stint, it was meant to be a year, maybe a year and a half, but she ended up doing it for 2 years. And we know she'll be here to continue supporting us. And
Yes.
what I've appreciated about Rebecca is her thoughtfulness. She shows her appreciation in small ways and big ways. And, I also impressed with your ability to mindfully listen to people and address them and use skillful speech, sometimes tinged with sarcasm.
It's true. Very good.
And her ability to take things in stride. It could be the most stressful situation. Rebecca says,
It's okay.
just do the work and the gurus will provide. But in all seriousness, the center will be where it is out
It is.
today, and all the directors beforehand who've contributed. So
Yes.
thank you so much. Here's a small token.
Thank you.
Wow, no, you're not getting away. It's so kind and it's so kind. And you're really gone. Because Anthony you guys will finally, when you text or email, you'll get a response quickly. Anthony's so organized and so methodical. I think by this time next year, we'll have a property with 10 acres and lots of stupas and holy objects, because Anthony's really organized and gets things done. It's like when Anthony has a task, he's on it, and I appreciate that so much. And his mind, with his methodicalness, tolerating me, I have probably been his best teacher. Because I'm just like Anthony, and he's got a financial background, and me, I'm just like, here's like, wait a minute, what was that? Where's that go? What's that? I'm like, and is that, can we afford to do this? The gurus will provide. We can do it. And poor Anthony's like, I can just see him going, she doing it. So it has been an absolute blessing to have you when you've been able to rein me in and to remind me of things that I have let slip through the cracks. So There's so many people here that for years, I mean, I've seen people here today that have literally not been here in years, and just over the years, the love and the work and the, just, and it's all, we don't have, this center exists because of you, when
And
we're,
for you.
yes, and we're part of FPMT, but FPMT doesn't pay for anything, they're not supporting us financially, they're supporting us spiritually and with curriculum, but we pay them dues. So it's like, we worry about the money. Anthony worries more than I do. But things, people, it's all because of you. And so we do need, we need money. Don't get me wrong, we need money. But also, like what Venerable Kalden was saying, the people that step up and say, hey, I actually have a skill in this. We have someone new. Natalia, will you wave? Natalia came up to us and was like, oh, I do marketing, I can help. So she's filming something. There's just, everyone can help. And we love you all and we appreciate it so much. So it's been an honor, and I am gladly handing the torch of September 1st. So thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, no.
My flight, I'm late for flight. Sorry, there's one thing, yes, dear. Oh, I'm so sorry.
When I came here, I thought I don't have any problem, allergic problem. But when I come here and listen to what you said, no, I have a problem.
I know. Big problem.
So you were talking about attachments and now I'm really attached to your personality.
Oh, that's very, very kind. But as I like to say, don't get attached to the teacher. If you need, like, use the teachings to transform your mind, right? As I say, I'm literally nobody. I don't know anything. You guys deserve a proper teacher, and you have Venerable Tendron that helped so much, that sent help, and we hope we will continue to help. They are very good teachers. I'm just blah, blah, blah. Don't believe in anything, really. But use whatever you might have understood, whatever you might have think that it was good, to really transform the mind. And then if you think, oh no, but that is the best thing you want to give to me, right? It's transforming yourself, becoming a better human being. Because each of us, we become a light in this world and bringing more and more peace and love and kindness. That's what we can do, right? So that's for me most important. But thank you so much. And I see you online.
Yes.
Yes?
So,
Okay, yes.
so Venerable Kalden, wow. I saw Venerable Kalden in California 2 years ago and said, oh, do you think maybe you could come? And so we talked back and forth, and it was a long thing back and forth. And finally he came last year. And by the time he was here at the end, he said, well, we talked about the continuity of coming and his amazing presence and the connections that he made with people here. And he said, well, I could commit to 3 to 5 years of coming once a year for a few months. And I was so happy, so thankful. He came this time and stirred everything up, changed our schedule multiple times. Yeah. And so now he has made a connection with people here. And as a teacher of Dharma, he won't abandon us, which is so amazingly kind. And Venerable Kalden has agreed to come for a month at a time, multiple times per year. So and we did a crazy thing yesterday that it'd take too long to talk about. But on the way home, somebody was saying something about Venerable Kalden, or somebody said something about him. And I said, well, yeah, he made a 3 to 5 year commitment, but look, we've got him now, because I said, what's he going to do? Look at the students he has now. After 5 years, what, he's just going to say, see ya, suckers, that's it. So he's definitely stuck with us, and And there's no words, no, it's funny, all the teachers say what Venerable Kalden just said, the most important thing you can give me is your practice, you know, is following the teachings in your practice. So, but we do have, you know, there are no words to express how thankful and how meaningful and how many people you've impacted, you know, every time you're here. And so for that, the center says, thank you, and Venerable Kalden, please live long and please continue to turn the wheels of Dharma for us, please, Venerable. So